Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Customer Sure Closed Loop podcast. Thank you once again for joining me, wherever you are watching or listening to this podcast. To introduce myself, my name is Darren Wake, and I'm Head of Customer Success at Customer Sure. And for this episode, extremely delighted to welcome Clare White to join us on this episode. Clare, welcome. Thank you for being
Thanks
here.
very much. Thanks, Darren. Very excited to be here.
Yeah, wonderful. No, great to chat to you. So, just to introduce Clare, so Clare is the founder of ConnectedCX and is a fractional chief customer officer with over 25 years experience in helping businesses reduce churn, engage employees, and grow sustainably. Clare is wonderful. Is also a best-selling author and culture strategist. And Clare works with scaling organizations to turn customers and employees into lifelong fans, which is a tricky ask, but Clare does a great job working on that with organizations. And Clare also has a people-first approach and helps leaders tackle complex challenges and embracing lasting change, which is what it's all about ultimately, and helps unlock growth by putting experience at the heart of strategy. So, wow, Clare, wonderful. Yes.
Yes, wow.
Yeah,
Thanks for
yeah,
that
yeah,
intro.
yeah. And we'll put an actual link in the podcast chat to Claire's new book, actually, because it's fantastic, Claire. So well done getting that written and out. That's good.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
So for this topic, Claire, what I wanted to talk about was a really hot one that comes up. Not as much as it should, actually, but so I think it should come up on more CX leaders and business leaders' agendas. But I want to talk about employee experience and customer experience and investigate what's the link and also why is employee experience important. And just for we might abbreviate employee experience to just EX and CX, obviously being customer experience. But yeah, what's your thoughts? I know it's an area of expertise for you, Claire. So yeah, EX and CX, what's the link and why do you think it's important?
So you and I have talked about this at length over kind of the past year or so, and I've even shared a webinar on this very topic because, and I was talking to somebody else about it, another expert about this yesterday. You, in my opinion, and in my experience, you cannot deliver consistently good customer experience without highly engaged and supported employees. And that's, as far as I'm concerned, that's just a fact. I have worked in organizations where we have gone through a challenging period. I think all businesses do. Business is a roller coaster. And actually what we identified in that occasion was when the customers were telling us things were not great, it started with things not being great for the employees. They really do go hand in hand. There's lots of statistics out there as well, because I'm sure some people that will be listening to this are thinking, okay, I hear you're saying there's a link, but what do the statistics say? And there are a lot out there, because ultimately having engaged employees and delivering great customer experience will drive loyalty of both your employees and your customers. They're both really hugely valuable assets. So brands with high employee engagement typically see 24% higher net promoter score average.
Wow, really?
I know it's massive. If you record net promoter score in your business, I'm sure you're thinking, wow, that is significant. But also 12% higher customer advocacy. So this isn't just your net promoter score. This is where customers have actually referred you to another business and you have got that business. And I think when we talk about net promoter score, that's obviously the weak link. We sometimes wonder, that's our score, but will actually people refer us? So this is saying they will.
Yeah.
So that is just one statistic that says there is a link between customer experience and employee engagement and experience, but there are many more. And I know you've had your own experiences, Darren, as well with this, I think, and we've had lots of conversations.
Yeah, no, definitely, Claire. I mean, I was shocked at that statistic actually, because I know it does make sense to be linked and have a clear correlation between more engaged and satisfied employees and improved CX scores. A lot of people are chasing NPS. I work with lots of companies where they're just, NPS is a target, often set from the top down, and we can argue good or bad. There's a lot of bad in there, but anyway, it's a proxy of satisfaction. But I think your stat about it actually leads to recommendation. It actually shows it's not a nice to have, it's actually critical to business success, which is really important. I think you hit on a good point where if I always think about we're all customers, if we take ourselves out of our day jobs for a second, we're all customers of different companies. And the companies that we warm to best is generally, yes, it's maybe a great product, a great process, but it means the people interactions that we have are by and large good. Things are easy, they're effortless, well, they don't have a lot of friction. And also there's that thing about, you don't remember what people did, but you remember how people made you feel kind of thing. And I think it's the people in the company that have the impact on the customer, the coalface. Now, each company's different. Some companies have a greater bearing on that than others. If we're working in a shop or a contact center, there's more perhaps contact time. But even in companies where there's a bigger gap, they still have a big role to play on, customers' experiences, don't they? And I guess again thinking about individual experiences or people that I know, if people are unhappy in their job or are unhappy in their culture, then that it does influence the work the service they provide, surely. So.
Yeah, 100%. And actually, I've talked about this on a few webinars that I've done over the past year. Absenteeism. So this is when people turn up to do their jobs, but actually, for whatever reason, they're either not engaged, really not enjoying what they're doing, or they're not actually well enough to be working, but they're coming to work because they feel they need to come to work. It's very much probably to do with the culture that they feel they need to turn up. However, when people turn up in that way, they're not delivering on, they're just doing the do. And actually, they may not even be doing that very well. But what they're not doing is going the extra mile. They're not making those decisions in a moment when a customer needs a decision to be made in their favor. And they're not going to be focusing on customer experience. They're going to be focusing more on what they need to do. So being really internally focused rather than externally focused. Absenteeism is a huge growing problem in the UK, and it comes from when employees are not feeling they can be themselves in their business, or they're not feeling engaged. And when they're not engaged and they don't feel that they're empowered to do their job and they're empowered to do their best job, then they're not going to do the best for your customers. And it's not just frontline staff, because when we talk about customer experience, it is a responsibility of everyone in the organization to be focusing on that customer and making sure that that customer has that consistent experience, whatever that might be. Ultimately, when there's a problem, or when a system goes down, or when a process is broken, it requires cross-functional teams to fix that and to make it better. And to make it better, not just for how their organization works, but to make it better for their customers. And if you've got teams that aren't working together and that cross-functional relationships aren't fostered by leadership, then that's going to break down, and it's going to take a long time to fix problems for customers. And it's going to take a long time to fix the experience or improve the experience that the employees are having, which ultimately is going to, not enable them to do their jobs even better.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting, actually. You're right, because you do often default to think of people at the coal face, at the front line, but they're ultimately served by other employees. And you make a good point about empowerment as well, and employees given responsibility. And I think one of the big frustrations we have as customers is when we're working with an organization or dealing with an organization, whether it be your financial services provider, utilities company, or even just a coffee shop on the high street, or a B2B relationship where you're dealing with an account manager, is when you have an issue or you have a question and you want it to be resolved and you want something done, or you have an outcome you're going for, and the person or the people you deal with cannot solve it, or they don't feel they have the tools to do it, or they're not trusted to do it. And you can kind of tell, you can spot it a mile away, and it's clearly an empowerment issue, a trust issue, or it might be a processes and a systems failure that's preventing them from doing that. I need to check, I need to go back, I need to transfer you, and that's a major source of pain for customers, I think.
Yeah, it's a huge source of pain. And in fact, there's another stat for you, full of stats today. But actually, businesses where employees are focused on the customer have a 24% increased profit rate than those that aren't focused on customer satisfaction. So when you're thinking about profits, and I think ultimately businesses have a bit of a challenge, because they have to deliver on governance, they have to deliver on their business strategy, and they also have to deliver on business performance. So I guess that is kind of governance. And part of that is profits, particularly if you've got shareholders. Everything is about profits. Now, this is a pretty hard fact that is saying if you're not focusing, or your employees are not focusing on the customers, and they're not focusing on customer satisfaction, then ultimately you are at risk of reducing your profits. And that is a really hard fact that hopefully will ring true with some people when they look at, actually, yes, I see when we had a dip in employee engagement and actually a dip in customer engagement, yes, I see our profits did fall, because ultimately your costs are going to go up. You're going to lose people and you're going to lose customers.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. No, that's a really good stat. I love a stat on this on these episodes. So thank you for bringing those. Here's a question for you, Claire, because hey, sorry for interrupting the video, but I'll be quick. Now, is your VOC program really making an impact, or are hidden gaps really holding you back? Take our free VOC maturity assessment to get instant insights and actions to improve your VOC program. It only takes 5 minutes and you'll be closer to take your VOC program to the next level. Click the first comment to find out more. Now, let's get back to the video. I don't think many CX leaders would have an issue or disagree with any of that. What I'm wondering is, if you're thinking practically for a second, if you're a CX leader or manager, where do you begin to because often employee satisfaction, employee engagement can be, often it's not done, or if it is done, it's just kept in a protected fence by HR. What's your recommended approach for a CX leader who's watching or listening to this to get those other areas of the business to look at it and take it seriously? What do you think they could do?
And I think this is the such a critical question that CX leaders are probably struggling with today. This is where you need to have the ear of the board. You need to be influential with the people that are going to have the data that's going to enable you to demonstrate how customer experience is going to deliver an ROI, because it is cross-functional. It's not, I think customer experience is horizontal, isn't it? It's a horizontal, not a vertical. It goes through every single part of the business. So what that means is that one of the first objectives of a CX leader should be to drive relationships in every single one of those areas that's going to unlock data that they can use to demonstrate ROI. Because I think now with customer experience more than ever, because we are in a difficult market, I think there's high inflation. It's a difficult market. People are protecting budgets because they don't know what's going to happen. And I think I'm hearing more and more that it's customer experience budgets that are being cut. And that's because there is fear, or when we are not demonstrating that we are delivering ROI as a customer experience leader. So make those connections, identify who in your organization is going to have access to the data, but not that they have access to the data you need, but that they're asking the right questions. Because I come across quite a lot of organizations that just aren't asking the right questions to their employees. So also make sure that their employees feel they are trusted and that they're in a safe psychological environment and that they can be honest, because otherwise they're not going to feedback honestly. So your engagement scores might look really, really positive because your employees just aren't able to be honest. So I think a CX leader's job is probably more difficult than it has been for a few years, because of budgets being stripped back, and because potentially businesses aren't asking the right questions and getting the right data back. So build relationships with the right stakeholders, understand how you can influence them to make sure they're asking the right questions and they're getting the right data.
Yeah, no, that's some really good points there. And I love your stats you shared earlier, because what I'm thinking is as well is often CX leaders are put in a box, if you like, or engage with customers, find out what they think, get us an NPS score, increase our NPS score, do things to make things better, like service recovery, closing the loop, service improvement, great. But you're right, the key bit it misses is that employee engagement piece. And I think what I'd encourage companies to do is exactly kind of build that business case. The stats you provide a really good starting point, and take it to senior people and say, actually, look, the employee satisfaction, employee engagement is critical. But you're right, a lot of employee satisfaction surveys are not good questions, or they miss the point because they're often owned by HR colleagues that just see it through a different lens. And I'm not knocking HR colleagues for doing this. They want to do their employee satisfaction survey, but they're looking at more things about, staff retention and loyalty and pay and benefits, which are all obviously integral parts of it, but they don't view it from a customer's point of view, or they don't think about the impact it has on customers. And what I always encourage anyone that I work with to say on employee experiences is you've got to be understanding employee experience and employee engagement and doing something with it. And if you don't, then you need to get closer to those people that are involved in it, either up the chain or get a link with colleagues in HR or at a more senior level, because you don't want to just be fobbed off of, oh, that's not your job, don't worry about that, X in HR looks after this, you just get back to CX, because that's not the solution. And also not the solution is it's fluffy stuff. We don't want to find out what employees think, because again, that's a challenge as well. So yeah.
It's so short-sighted, though. I think everything that I do in my business is talking to employees and customers, because they have the answers. They will tell you what's wrong.
Yeah.
They will tell you what's wrong. They will tell you what needs to be changed, and they will tell you what's making you difficult to work for or buy from.
Yeah. It is that they do have the answers. If you say this is the problem, and you can actually share customer feedback with them and say, actually, from our voice of the customer programs, these are some of the key insights. This is where we're doing well done, but these are our challenges. What do you think? How could we overcome this? And they're the ones that will have the best ideas half the time. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Good stuff. No, that's fantastic. So, I'm wondering those key stats. If they exist in, obviously they exist in kind of your book or any resources, but we'll put a link to those in the link wherever you're watching this. Actually, we'll maybe have the link appear on the screen or in the comments below. Thank you very much, Claire. That's been extremely useful, insightful. What I say to anyone watching or listening to this, if you've got any experience with linking EX with CX and making sure EX takes into account what the customer's voice says, and then using the outcomes to inform customer strategy as well, we'd love to hear from you and find out what your thoughts are. You might disagree totally with Claire and myself. That's absolutely fine. So interested to hear your thoughts or what challenges you have, and we'll help you out. Claire, it's been absolutely brilliant. Thank you very much for joining this episode of Closed Loop Podcast. Hope to see you again for another episode. Thank you.
Yeah, hope so. Thanks.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.